Welcome, and thank you for honoring us today with your presence. As we celebrate 50 years of educating students at Hans Christian Andersen Elementary, we are delighted that you are here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem. Madison Joyce.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for our national anthem.
Thank you. And those that sang and performed the national anthem for us is Andersen's members of the Elementary Music Festival. Great job, guys. So we have quite a few very special guests here today, and we would like to recognize them. Matt Susan, Vice Chair of our School Board, District 4. Cheryl McDougall, District 2, School Board Member. Katie Campbell, District 5, School Board Member. Dr. Mark Mullen, Superintendent. Dr. Brenda Fetro, City Manager of Rockledge. Frank Forrester, Council Seat 4, Vice Chair, City of Rockledge. Dr. Sean Ferguson, City Council Seat 2, City of Rockledge. Dwayne Daskey, Council Seat 5, City of Rockledge. Director and Chief Joseph Lasada, Rockledge Public Safety. He's over Rockledge Police Department and Fire Department. Donna Safer, Deputy Chief of Police, City of Rockledge. Dr. Beth Fetty, Deputy Superintendent of Chief Human Resource Officer. Very important. Jane Klein, Assistant Superintendent of Elementary Learning. Russell Cheatham, Assistant Superintendent of Chief Information Officer. Kitty Zerker, Chief Financial Officer. Dr. Teresa Wright, Director of Title I. Also a Director for Elementary Leading and Learning and a former principal of Andersen. Dr. Carol Mello, Director of Elementary Leading and Learning. Lieutenant Thomas Snyder of Professional Standards. He's in the back. Oftentimes, I know you like to stand. Lieutenant Gregory Clayman, Rockledge Police Department, City of Rockledge. And Corporal Alice Deakins, Rockledge Police Department. We also have several principals that are here with us today, so if you will stand as I call your name. Roseanne Bennett, principal of Croton. Roseanne was also a former assistant principal of Anderson. Jennifer Bourne, principal of Lewis Carroll. Jasmine Delauder, principal of McNair. Katrina Hudson, principal of Gulfview. Jackie Ingrata, principal of Edgewood Junior Senior High School. Karen Ivory, principal of Sherwood Elementary. Claire Lovelace, principal of Coquina. Dr. Nell Marshall, principal of West Melbourne Elementary. Bradley Merrill, principal of Rockledge High School. Janice Rutherford, principal of Saturn Elementary. Regina Tagey, principal of Cambridge Elementary. Sherry Tomlinson, principal of Kennedy Middle School. And Rashad Wilson, principal of Cocoa High. We also have some former APs that are here. Elaine Hall, former AP at Anderson. Candace Jones, currently assistant principal at MIMS. Former AP at Anderson. Stephanie White is the AP at Mila Elementary. And she's a former teacher from Anderson. Amy Delago, AP at Fair Glen. And she's a former teacher of Anderson. Adria McDonough, AP at Sherwood, and a former teacher of Anderson. John Johnson, AP of Curriculum at Cocoa High, and my husband. I would like to say a special thanks to our School Advisory Council. If you are here, please stand. And our PTO board members, if you are here, please stand. Now, all of the former teachers and employees of Anderson, would you please stand? If you were here at Anderson during the first 10 years, please stand. So remain standing if you were here the day Anderson opened its doors. Thank you. To all of you, thank you for your support today. So, as you can see from the agenda, we have some celebratory words that are going to be shared with us, and we will begin with Cheryl McDougall, who is the who is the District 2 representative and represents Anderson. Thank you and welcome, Cheryl.
Well, I feel like I want to sing happy birthday. But thank you. Thank you all for this wonderful celebration. 50 years. It's unbelievable. I'm always amazed at the age of our schools, quite frankly, because on the outside, they don't look like 50. But what I'm really celebrating here, and I want you all to celebrate, is this is a family. That you all are family, and you have come to celebrate a very significant birthday. So thank you from the teachers who started the very first day. Thank you very much to our teachers who continue to be here and support our children to be the best that they can be and the potential that they have for us in the future. But most importantly, thank you to our community who continues to treat our school, support our school, PTO. Thank you very much, because we couldn't do it without a village, and it really does take a village for us to succeed. So happy birthday. I won't sing. You guys should ask Miss Campbell to sing. She's got the best voice. But thank you very much for inviting me. I'm proud to represent that you're my school in District 2, and I'm very excited to spend more time here. So thank you very much, and happy birthday.
And I'm very honored to introduce our superintendent, Dr. Mark Mullins.
Thank you, Denise. It really is wonderful to come to these events because it feels like a family reunion, doesn't it? Community comes together, teachers come together, support, friends, colleagues come together, and we just have a great time celebrating the work we do. And when we have these events, I'm reminded 50 years, the doors of Anderson Elementary School have been open to receive kids. So as a former math teacher, I can't help but do a little calculating. If we take 50 years and we multiply that by the numbers of unique kids, just start there, the number of individual lives that have walked in the doors of Anderson Elementary School over 50 years, over 5,000 children have called this their elementary school at one point in time. But then when you multiply that over the potential number of years that those 5,000 children have been here, it represents over 35,000 years of learning. That is amazing. And when we think of a school building, you look at the pictures of the early days when walls were going up and windows were going to be installed and doors were coming in, and then finally when desks and chairs came in, and maybe even some of our charter teachers remember those early days of are we going to be ready when the kids show up. It really was still just a building. It was really just a structure of concrete, tile, bricks, glass. It wasn't until the administration and the teachers and the media specialist and the guidance counselor and the cafeteria workers and the custodians came in that a building, a structure began to come to some life. And then, I think if we're honest about it, the true life, the true color of the school, the personality came to life when the hundreds of kids walked in those early mornings of the first days of school. It began as a structure, much like a house. When you think about building a house, it doesn't really become a home until the family comes in to occupy it. A schoolhouse doesn't become a home of learning for our kids until the teachers and the staff come in and then ultimately get ready to receive our kids. So thank you for the privilege of celebrating 50 years of making this a home of learning for our kids and celebrating the next many years as Anderson continues to achieve and strive for their mission of excellence for every one of our kids. Thank you.
I'm very pleased that my closest neighboring principal, Sherry Tomlinson, is going to speak to you today.
So I was excited when I came in because I got to ride in a golf cart with my 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Rembrandt. Yes, she was my 5th grade teacher. And then when I went over to get a snack, I saw one of my high school teachers and my 2nd grade teacher walk in, Mr. Rose and Mrs. Rose. So it's been an exciting morning already for me. We're going to try to get a couple of pictures up here. I just thank you for the opportunity to be able to share in this very special day. Some of the most important lessons of my life were right here at Hans Christian Andersen Elementary. We're going to get a picture up, hopefully, of why my parents came to this great city of Rockledge. They, a little bit hard to see, huh? And I might need a little bit of light. Is there a way to do a little bit of light? Probably not, huh? Okay. My parents came to this city of Rockledge. It's okay, you can turn them off. Because of that tree fort right there. That's why they chose to buy in Rockledge. They had 4 young children, and Rockledge was up and coming with new schools, and they found that tree fort. My first memory of Andersen actually happened the summer before kindergarten. And while you may not be able to read this very well, it is nearly 47 years old. My kindergarten teacher was pretty impressive. She got me excited about coming to kindergarten by sending me a letter through the mail and telling me about this thing, this person, this friend named Duso, who I ended up finding out was going to be a puppet. But it was my reason for wanting to come on the first day of kindergarten. She instilled an excitement for that very first day. And when I met Miss Graham, I found her to be probably how most kindergarten kids find their kindergarten teacher to be, the most beautiful woman on earth. She made me so happy. And in that critical first year of learning, she instilled in me that joy for learning. Andersen looked really different back then. This was actually my picture of my house. It wasn't my school. But my kindergarten teacher taught me my address, my phone number. She taught me to cover my mouth when I sneeze. And this was me moving into first grade. Every space was probably utilized really well back then. I have a vivid memory in first grade of my teacher, Mrs. Bowley. She had, in the units, which those were those open air units, there was a closet that was long and empty. And she would take the whole class into the closet, allow us to sit crisscross applesauce, all tight in that closet to be able to hear her read. And we did so because it was quiet in there, not like out in the unit. And she would check for understanding, and we wanted to answer her questions because of those orange crystal candies. I still see those, and I go back to my world of Mrs. Bowley and in that closet listening to her read. It was also my first year that I got in trouble. I remember that we were in small groups, and somehow the conversation went to hula dancing. I'm sure that was not what was on our lessons for that day. And I stood up to be able to give a demonstration of how to hula dance. And I remember Mrs. Wines saying quite clearly to me, "Sherry Tomlinson, do you have ants in your pants?" That is a direct quote. That wasn't the only trauma of my first grade, though. My very best friend, the person who lived just a few doors down, the person whom I held hands with when we ran around the backstop that used to be out back, I don't know if it's still there, the person whose house I stayed at when I was sick and my mom was in nursing school. She was my very best friend, and she passed away that year. Certainly a trauma that no 6-year-old should have to experience. And I remember that it usually hit me hardest when we would put our mats out for nap time. Perhaps the rest of the day they kept me busy with all of the work that they were giving me, but nap time brought tears, and tears brought loving pats and soothing words from my teachers. As I look back now, I realize those teachers probably went through just as much as me that year with losing a child, and yet I know that they were constantly there to comfort me. It was Mrs. Wines, I believe, who chose me to be the female greeter for the new, I just had to throw this in because at the top it says, "I love you boys and Miss Bowley." Not true, except Miss Bowley. It was my first year of wanting to be a teacher also. I loved Miss Bowley. I have some writing where she wrote back to me saying that she loved me too. But you see in some of my writing back then that I started to say, I want to be a teacher. It was Mrs. Wines who chose me to be the female greeter to welcome our brand new principal, Mr. Roth, to our school. This is out on what used to be where the buses would come in, and we decorated it with lots of flowers. That's Mrs. Wines, that's Sean Tucker, and myself. And I remember that day was such an important day, like I hope that today's students will remember today. Our unit, just like all of the open air units here at Anderson, had 5 basic sections in it. The main section had a stage, and I remember we put on plays almost yearly, and some years multiple plays. We did 4 on just one day for that one. I remember that there were cubbies that divided the front area of the unit from the back area, and we would put all of our workbooks and our different things in those cubbies. And then in the back of the unit was a library for every grade level. So while Anderson didn't have its own library, we had a lot of books in each grade level. And I can remember taking turns to be able to go to other grade levels and check out books, maybe that were from a higher grade. I also remember that there was a wet area, and there was an actual classroom with a door in the unit, and then a folding wall classroom. Outside, we enjoyed a ring of tires. I just want to point out on this that I was honor roll, but I was also movie projectionist. Outside, we enjoyed a ring of tires. They stood up. They were submerged partway in the ground. We loved running around the tops of those tires. We had swings. We had a black top with square and hopscotch painted on it. Our PE teacher, Mr. Smith, had not met Mark Langdorf at this point because for our birthday, he would throw us up in the air and catch us, and he'd ask us if we could tell him what was on top of the roof. He used to walk us in the very back of the property through the Australian pines. There were so many of them, and it was like we went to a different world back there. I loved taking those field trips through those pine trees. He and Mrs. Potter taught us square dancing, and I have fond memories of playing with large parachutes. As I got older, I missed some of recess because I was the person that would thread the movie. That helped me a lot when I became a teacher later on. I was also given the responsibility in 2nd grade, back to that wet area. My 2nd grade teachers were I believe, Miss Portress, Miss Spear, Mrs. Rose, and one of them, and I don't remember which one, took me into the wet area and showed me a cabinet where they had stored a brush and a bunch of barrettes and bows. And I remember my teacher talking very seriously to me and telling me that there was a friend in my class that each morning before the pledge, they wanted me to get with and help with her hair. And every day I took that responsibility. It was important to me. It was done in a way that was not embarrassing at all to that child, and my teacher cared enough for somebody else in my class to show me that I needed to be a good friend and to help her with her hair. My teacher had bought all those things to put in her hair. It was a simple act of caring, but it was what I constantly ran into here at Anderson. Some things at Anderson were ahead of their times. This newspaper article, I guess you can't read the bottom, but Mike Nutting is the friend, and he warns that girls can never be presidents, but they could be a president's wife. I don't know about that, but we had a lot of conversation about that ahead of time. I look back now and I realize that my 4th grade teacher, Mrs. McNeil, was just masterful with her teammates in integrating subjects. We did this whole unit on transportation, even built a life-size car. I remember every aspect of that. My 3rd grade teacher made sure that we ate everything on our plates. I remember that I was not allowed to throw out anything. And that was the year that I wrote an article for the newspaper that said we need to be able to sit by our friends at lunchtime. Here at Anderson, they didn't have a cafeteria. Our teachers ate with us. Bless them. Bless them. And so I understand why we didn't sit by friends at lunchtime. They needed a few moments. I have so many other memories. I learned patriotic songs. I played the recorder. I bought red, white, and blue ice cream to eat after school. I fell in the ditch while riding my bike home on Fisk Boulevard. In 5th grade, as a patrol, we were given helmets, badges, and rain ponchos, and we were large and in charge. Each week, no matter the weather, we rotated into new jobs. I learned every neighborhood street on Fisk Boulevard. We were to patrol every neighborhood street on Fisk Boulevard. That was the year that we also walked over the 95 overpass. We went over to the park. There was a big lake over there, and my fondest memory, Miss Rembrandt, was that we were given bubble gum, and we were allowed to have a bubble gum blowing contest. We also made our trek that year to Kennedy Middle School. 6 years of memories here. Here at Anderson, I enjoyed my love of reading. I expanded upon my love of music. I was celebrated for being patriotic and caring for others. I was inspired to be responsible and to give back to my community. I remember names of teachers, office staff, and administrators 47 years later because they made a difference. I represent the thousands of children who today say, thank you, Anderson, for 50 years of truly caring about each child and living your mission of educate, inspire, and support students to achieve success and serve the community. Thank you for the smiles I got in preparing today's presentation. And my last picture is a group of us, friends since kindergarten. 3 of them are teachers, all from Anderson.
Thank you, Ms. Tomlinson. That was a wonderful journey together. And I wanted each of you to see all of our students today. So we're getting that chance, and we may go a little bit over our time, but every student will be performing for you today. And I would like to let you know that every pennant on the wall, there's one representing every student. We have 733 students, and they are all going to perform for you through the ages. Thank you. Special thanks to our director, Catherine Addington.
Welcome to 1969. We finally put a man on the moon this year. Our groovy looks including bell bottoms, maxi dresses, and ponchos. This group called the Beatles was rocking everyone. You could say that the sun shined on the opening of our school. While a lot of challenging events occurred in the 2000s, our country was able to come together and support each other through it all. All around the world, people were realizing the importance of all the small hours spent together. To the current age. These past 10 years have seen many advances in learning and technology. Thanks to people who always try to expand their knowledge. We now have the iPad along with many improved electronics. We are excited to keep seeking information and the truth in everything we learn.
performance, and it's all of kindergarten and all of first grade. So we have quite a few children that will be coming in, but aren't they doing an awesome job? These are the faces of Anderson today. And every child here has had a chance to show off, if we can call it that, and share with you their talent of singing. And of course, we have all the pennants around the room you may want to look at later of their artistic ability in celebrating our 50th birthday. I'm so proud of you. First graders, since it is now past our dismissal time, and we have a late dismissal by a few minutes, we're only going to sing the song one time, okay? Kindergartner and first graders, one time. Thank you, Mrs. Addington. That was fantastic. So we pause today to reflect on the significance of this occasion. Anderson brings a rich history to Rockledge, and it reveals the values of this community. Anderson has always emphasized the importance of student achievement and excellence in serving the academic needs of students. Through time, Anderson has received numerous awards and recognitions, and those accolades will continue in the years to come. Yet, we came together today to celebrate not only the history of Anderson, but the future of Anderson. If we looked at the classrooms at Anderson 50 years ago. And by the way, you can see them if you look at the Museum of Memories. There are quite a few great snapshots of our open space school. But you will not see a computer or a docking, not even a TV or a telephone. 50 years ago, it was different. But there are things that have not changed in the last 50 years. And I just want to talk a couple of minutes about those. Some of the things that have not changed: the unwavering belief that every child will learn and all students can excel. Yes, we still believe that at Anderson. Providing students with the best opportunity to learn and to grow. Yes, we still do that. We set up our students for success. And something else that hasn't changed in 50 years. Teachers make a difference every day. Yes, we still believe in the power of our teachers. All students should be safe and secure at school. That continues to be our priority. And finally, our commitment to excellence. No, that hasn't changed, and I hope it never does. So how do you put a price tag on impacting lives and empowering students to achieve their dreams? How do you measure the worth of a school? I don't believe you can. It's priceless. It can only be seen in the accomplishments of each generation and the continued commitment to the importance of education in our community, in our society, and in our world. So to Anderson today, I hope you will continue to give wings to dreams and support students as they move Anderson's mission forward for the next generation. Thanks to all of our teachers, staff, students, parents, and community members for making Anderson what it is today. You have contributed to Anderson's legacy. Thanks to all of you for celebrating not only Anderson's past, but our present and our future. You have made our 50th anniversary a day to remember. You are welcome to stay. We have cake cut for you and plenty of food, and we're inviting all of our teachers to come back. I'm sure there's many of them you would like to see and visit with. And we have our Museum of Memories. So thank you for making this day a memorable occasion.